which is the economic development agency in the city of Hannover in Germany. And for many, many years now, we are supporting Turkish companies doing business in the German market, expanding their business activities from Turkey, from the domestic market into the European Union, into Germany. We are very happy that you joined us for this webinar. We would like to use the opportunity to talk with you about business opportunities in the field of medical technology, in the field of pharmaceutical business, in the field of healthcare business, as we think that especially in these times, this is an important market. This is a market that will increase in importance. And yeah, we would like to introduce you to this market in Germany and also show you how we, together with our partners in Turkey, how together we can help you and your company expanding into this business. When I'm talking about we, it's first of all my colleague Cornelia Körber, who is responsible for the industry field of medical technology and healthcare here at Hannover Impulse. She is an industry expert with many years activities in this market. It's also Mr. Aytekinan Hatipolu, who is our representative in the Turkish market and who will show you also the services we are offering for Turkish companies. And then also in collaboration for this webinar, our partners from Crescendo Worldwide, who will take care about a lot of the activities in the background. Okay, having said this, let's start. Give you a brief overview. We will just make a quick introduction about the actual situation with regards to the Corona crisis in Germany. Give you outline about global healthcare and life science market, then especially Turkey, Europe, Turkey, German trade statistics, some numbers just to give an idea. Then how the healthcare and life science in Germany is right now. Then, of course, the ecosystem in our federal state in Lower Saxony or Niedersachsen and Hanover, as this is offering also a lot of direct business opportunities. And then the whole aspects, how to do the steps to go into the German market and how we can support you. And also very important for us that we'll at the end have enough time for question and answers to go into your detailed interest, into your detailed questions, and further on, of course, after this webinar, we'll stay in contact to work with you on your plans. Next slide. So, of course, Germany, next slide, is also affected by the, next slide, please. Affected by the Corona. We had, as all the other countries, a lockdown. We are doing pretty good regarding the cases. Case numbers are slowing down. So right now, the federal government and the governments of the federal states, which have quite a high level of independent decision makings, are now starting this week and the next weeks with step-by-step reopening of the country. But of course, many things will stay as it were in the past weeks. So big gatherings, big events, etc., will stay forbidden in the public life. A lot of regulations will be active regarding distancing, regarding wearing masks, etc., etc. For the business, this was quite a change here in Germany. We have a very conservative approach how to do business. Companies had to change their culture, and they did. They did indeed within a short time. Next slide, please. Okay, let's go this just to give you an outline also here. Companies have the impact, feel the impact, see the impact in many areas. Business went down. The federal government and the federal states government had initiated a subsidies program to ensure the liquidity of the companies. On the other side, as we have here, universal health insurance system, coverage for health costs are 100% done. We have paid full sick days for up to 6 weeks. There were reduced working times, etc. So the whole strategy was enabling the liquidity on the one side, and on the other side, allow workers to recover in the case that they are sick without having that much negative aspects on their salaries, was aimed to enable the whole economy to stay as stable as possible with regards to liquidity on both sides, on company sides, but also on the customer, on the consumer side. Of course, yeah, we see an impact. We'll have we see a drop down in the economy in March and April, and in some industries, especially touristic, etc. This will be a long-term impact. We hope that in most of the other businesses, it will be more a short or midterm impact, so that we are back on track in the second half of the year. Next slide, please. So what I've mentioned for doing business in Germany, this will have an impact. We'll see a cultural change. Companies in Germany who were very reluctant to using online solutions like webinars, like video conferences, etc. They have changed these cultures. They have improved the situation. They are investing in such infrastructures, and this will make indeed doing business with Germans easier. In our opinion, as German companies will be more flexible to communicate with companies from outside. On the other side, while this offers advantages in terms of that new project structures in general are possible, new ways of doing business are possible. On the other side, we'll expect that there will be a higher need for localization. So that means that on the one side, German companies are more willing to collaborate with international partners. But as things are going more and more online, more and more into the virtual world, that in general there will be also then a higher need after that to have a personal contact, to know each other, and so the whole way on how to collaborate internationally will change. Regarding industries, that's the reason why we are here together today, this morning. We expect a far higher awareness about solutions in pharma, healthcare, medtech. We see right now in this crisis in which areas we need to improve, and so we are convinced that there are new business opportunities coming up out of this. Next slide, please. Having said this, we think it's a good opportunity. It's a good window of opportunities to look into the market, into the German market, and to give you a basic understanding, or more, not only basic, a detailed understanding. We would like to share some detailed information about the global and the European and German healthcare market. Therefore, I would like to ask Saili Inga Wale from our partner Crescendo Worldwide to present this information.
Thank you, Peter, for the information on Corona crisis in Germany. It is indeed very fruitful information where Turkish companies can make a note of it and support offered by the government. Before moving forward, let me introduce myself. I'm Saili Inga Wale from Crescendo Worldwide. Crescendo Worldwide is an international trade and investment generating organization with presence in 20+ countries. We are associate partner of Hannover Impulse. Before moving forward, please drop your questions in the chat box and we will answer them during question answer session. So let's take a look at the global healthcare and life science industry. Speaking about region-wise global healthcare revenue, where North America stands at the top with market size 714 billion USD. Europe stands at second with market size 422 billion USD, followed by other markets like Asia Pacific, Japan, and Latin America with their revenue market size. About global healthcare market size, year 2018, the global healthcare market size was 8.45 trillion USD, and till 2022, it is expected to rise around 12 trillion USD. Speaking on top 10 pharmaceutical market globally, which is led by USA with market size around 484,000 million USD, China around 133,000 million USD, Japan around 85,000 million USD. Germany stands at fourth largest market with size 52,000 million USD and followed by other top countries like France, Italy, Brazil, UK, Spain, and Canada. Now talking about healthcare industries breakdown, there are four types of industries which are healthcare services and facilities, medical devices and equipment, medical insurance and medical services, pharmaceutical and related segments. This is the sector forecast of the global healthcare. If you see about pharmaceutical and biotechnology, it was around 1100 billion USD in the year 2016 and expected to rise around 1700 billion USD till year 2025. About medical technology, it was 300 million USD in the year 2016 and expected to rise 600 billion USD till year 2025. Similarly, you will see the expected revenue for medical, imaging equipment, healthcare IT sector. So after looking at forecast, the total CAGR is expected to rise by around 5.6% till year 2025. Now speaking about top drugs and medicines exporters in the year 2019, Germany stands at the top with market size 57 billion USD. Second is Switzerland with market size around 47 billion USD, followed by top other markets like United States, UK, Denmark, and other European countries and the North American countries. Speaking about top drugs medicine importers in 2019, US stands at top with market size 79 billion USD. Germany stands at second with 31 billion USD, then Belgium with 24 billion USD, followed by China, Japan, Spain, Russia, Canada, and Poland. Now talking about spendings in year 2020 related to pharma market, here you will find USA contribute the most, which is 41%, Europe at 13%, China is around 11%, and followed by other markets like Brazil, Russia, India with their market spendings. Now, pharma sales trajectories. Between year 2019-2024, the worldwide prescription drug sales is projected to have CAGR to go up till 7%. Expected sales is 1.18 trillion USD. Over the period 2019-2024, the worldwide orphan drug sales are expected to have double the CAGR of non-orphan drugs at around 12.3%. About oncology is expected to have almost 20% share of the worldwide market by 2024 and around 11% in CAGR growth. Now speaking about API manufacturing facility region and country wise, where European Union stands at 26%, then India 18%, USA 28%, and followed by other countries like Canada, China, and rest of the world also contribute in API manufacturing facility. Speaking about the top life science market in the world, where US stands at top with market size 450 billion USD, Then again, you will find Germany is at the second position with market size 40 billion USD, followed by other countries like Canada, Singapore, Japan, UK. Now, these are the global life science sector breakdown. There are five types in the life science. One is biotechnology, then medical devices and equipment, healthcare services, pharmaceuticals, and managed healthcare. Now, important to know is the top 10 pharma companies in the year 2019. So at the top, you will find company name Pfizer, followed by on second, there is Roche. Then third is Johnson and Johnson. And followed by this, you will also find the other companies, top companies, which is Novartis and GSK. Let's take a look at the global medical devices market. Now, these are the segmentation of global medical devices, which contains orthopedic devices, cardiovascular devices, dental devices, then diabetes care, and others. If you see the global medical device sales, then durable medical equipment stands at 32%, ortho devices around 16%, then cardiology around 12%, and audiology 7%, and the other devices you can also find and their contribution. If you divide it as per the country, then here you will find United States contribute around 39%, then Germany 10%, Japan 9%, and other markets like China, UK, France, Russia, they also contribute in the medical device sales. Talking about the FDI projects in Germany between year 2000 and 2018. So sales, marketing, and support around 44%, business services around 18%, manufacturing plus R&D around 16%, and other FDI projects like retail 13% and headquarters 4%. So after understanding this, I would like to invite Mr. Hatipoglu to present on Turkey-Europe trade statistics.
Merhaba. We want to do this. Hello, I'm Aytekin Hatipoğlu. We want to do this part in Turkish for easier understanding for our Turkish guests. Merhaba, benim ismim Aytekin Hatipoğlu. Hunka Group'un genel müdürüyüm. Hunka Group, Hannover Impulse'un Türkiye'deki temsilcisidir. Şirketlerin Almanya'da şirket kurmak istediğiniz zaman bütün prosesi biz yapmaktayız. Next slide please. Evet, sonuçta biliyorsunuz Almanya'da şirket kurduğunuz zaman bir marka güvenliği oluyor. Made in Germany oluyor. Ve ürünlerinizi tabii ki dünyanın her yerinde daha basit pazarlayabiliyorsunuz. Next slide please. Evet, lojistik açıdan da özellikle bizim Hannover bölgesi burada Almanya'nın tam merkezinde olduğu için lojistik açıdan bir avantaj sağlıyor size. Doğu, batı, kuzey, güney gibi noktaların tam ortasında bulunmakta. Ve birçok limana yakın olmaktadır. Next slide please. Tabii bildiğiniz gibi Alman ekonomisi güçlü bir ekonomi. Ve buraya şirket kurduğunuz zaman siz de bu ekonominin parçası oluyorsunuz. Yaklaşık geçen sene 293 milyarlık bir cari fazla oldu. Yaklaşık 1 trilyon 400 milyarlık eurolukta bir ihracat olmuştur Almanya'dan. Next slide please. Evet, ucuz kredi. Bildiğiniz gibi Almanya'da krediler gayet ucuz. Yaklaşık %1-%2'lik bir kredi alabiliyorsunuz. Next slide please. Evet, kötü senaryo. Kötü senaryoda özellikle bu korona krizinde Almanya'daki şirketler devlet tarafından destek görmüştür. Yaklaşık 3.000 ila 15.000 euro arasında karşılıksız kredi verilmiştir geri ödenmemek şartıyla. Ve daha büyük meblağlar kredi aldığınız zaman da %0 faizle bunları geri ödüyorsunuz. Next slide please. Evet, biz Hunka Grup olarak Almanya'da şirket kurduğumuz zaman size oturum müsaadesi konusunda, size ve ailenize oturum müsaadesi konusunda da yardımcı oluyoruz. Next slide please. Evet. Türkiye'de anketimize de katılmanızı rica ederiz. Next slide please. Evet, Almanya'nın ihracatı bu slaytta görünmektedir. Yaklaşık 1 trilyon 400 milyarlık dediğimiz gibi bir ihracatı olmuştur Almanya'nın. Next slide. Evet, eksportlarda da yaklaşık görülmekte. Türkiye ile Almanya'nın ihracatı ve Türkiye'nin diğer ülkelere yaptığı ihracatta da. Next slide please. Evet, burada da görünmekte Türkiye ile ihracatlar. Next slide. Next slide please. Evet, Türkiye ile Almanya'nın ihracatında her zaman için burada da farmasi konusunda slide görünmekte. Next slide please. Next slide please. Almanya ile Türkiye arasında da importation'da. Next slide please. Yes,
Yes. Thank you, Aytekin. So speaking in detail on healthcare and life science, I guess this is also one of the important topic which I would like to cover, which gives you in-depth information on Europe healthcare and life science market. So these are the leading pharma market in EU in the financial year 2019, where Germany stands at the top with around 41,000 million euros market. France at second with around 28,000 million euros market, Italy at third, and followed by other European countries. Now to understand the top 5 pharmaceutical market in Europe, here you will see Germany stands at the top with percentage 24, then France around 19%, followed by other countries like Italy, UK, and Spain also contribute, in the top or comes under the 5 pharmaceutical top market. Speaking about the pharmaceutical exports, Germany stands at the top with export market size around 75,000 million euros. Then Belgium, Ireland, and followed by other EU countries contribute in pharmaceutical exports. Country-wise number of companies in life science industry, again, Germany stands at the top with around 1,000 biotechnology companies, 500 medtech companies, around 170 biotech companies, and around 100 plus pharmaceutical companies are present in Germany, followed by other countries from Europe like France, Netherlands, where life science industries have good presence. Now, these are the pharmaceutical sector applications. So there are 4 applications. One is medical imaging, medical instrumentation, medical implantable, and biotechnology. Speaking about the R&D and research and development industry in EU, so Switzerland comes number 1, around 6,400 million euros. Sorry. Then Germany at second, around 6,200 million euros. Then UK comes at third, and then other countries from Europe like Belgium, Denmark, Italy, Spain, Netherlands. Talking about the employment in pharma industry by country, where Italy, the employment generation is around 36,000, UK 64,000, France 92,000. Germany, the employment generation is highest, which is more than 110,000. If we talk about the European patent application in biotechnology and pharmaceutical sector, Germany at top position with around 1100 patents. France is at second position with around 880 patents and followed by other countries like Netherlands, Switzerland and UK. A very important point I would like to cover here, and I guess it is also helpful for all the Turkish companies, that 5 good reasons to expand your business in Europe. So let's go one by one. So first is medicines work the same everywhere, which means 50 years of European pharmaceutical legislation mean high quality, safe and effective medicines all over European market. Smooth production and supply chain in the EU ensures comprehensive drug supply for the population, and the side effects recorded across Europe ensure great patient safety. Now, now focusing on the second good reason, which is the heart of the EU economy is the middle class, which means the EU promotes the networking of European SMEs. Then EU citizen can work or invest in any member country, which is really good. Then EU provides and ensure a fair market environment and competition. If you talk about the investment, then around 40 billion euros annually invested in SMEs. Okay, and then through foreign trade agreements, EU is opening up new international market for SMEs. The third a good point is healthcare is going digital, and yes, we all agree on that. Okay, so here states will work more closely together on their public health services. EU ensures uniform standards in the patient file. Okay, the EU increase patient protection and as well as it gives funds for new and innovative e-health projects. The fourth reason to expand in Europe is healthcare knows no barriers, which means health professionals from all over European exchange their ideas about proven and innovative procedures. Research and innovation is carried out across Europe. The EU help member states to overcome common challenges such as pandemics and chronic diseases. The last good reason to go into the European market is knowledge knows no borders, which means the EU creates a living space for the exchange of expertise and experience. Then there is a freedom of the internal market, mean that doctor, nurses, researchers can work and share their knowledge in any other EU country without any hurdles. So with its Horizon 2020, the EU invests in European research institutes and projects. Now I would like to invite Ms. Cornelia Korber to present on healthcare and life science in Germany.
Thank you, Saili. So what we have heard so far is that Germany in its essence is a great location for research, production and sales. You could see that we have world-class research institutes and universities. European-wide, we have the highest population, meaning regarding to sales, we have the biggest market. And we're a leader in export as well as in production. There we're always amongst the top 3, if not first in Europe. That was what we have heard through the stats. Moving forward to the next slides, please. That one and one more. So when it comes to healthcare expenditure, this makes up 4.2% market growth during the past years in average. And we have 7.3 million people working in the healthcare industry compared to a total of 82 million people. That is about 9%. So healthcare industry is a very important sector in Germany. You can also see that with a number of companies, there's a strong lead within medical technology, and then followed by pharmaceutical and biotechnology. Moving on to the next slide, there's a pretty much same ratio between non-prescription and prescription pharmaceuticals that are approved, with a slight emphasis on prescription only. The export numbers have risen quite significantly over the last years. So Germany, with some of the most known big pharmaceutical companies and also medtech companies that we have, are exporting over the years more and are increasing. Interesting for all sales perspective is the distribution of the share in total price. This makes up about 67% to the manufacturer, whereas pharmacies gain around 18%, the wholesaler about 10%, and then there's another 5% on taxes. Company sizes, this is quite normal for German companies that we have a strong emphasis on smaller companies, which is also true to the healthcare industry. There we have 69% with less than 100 employees. This is also due to the fact that there are a lot of medtech companies, as we've seen, and they are working and researching in smaller institutions. Then there's 22% below 500 employees, and then there's 9% with 500 or more, making up the big multinationals and the big pharmaceutical brands that you will know. As you've seen before, there is a strong re-exportation location as well, with the US being on top, followed by the Netherlands and then Switzerland. Going forward, I've already mentioned Germany is a big place for very well-known pharma companies, and the big brands you will all know, specifically Bayer, Novartis, Roche, GSK, but then of course also risen up during the last years with Lilly and with Janssen being one of the Johnson & Johnson brands. Thank you very much, Saili.
So Peter,
Yeah.
you can explain our ecosystem in.
Correct. Yeah, next slide, please. Go a little bit into detail after the big picture. Germany, give you an overview about Hannover. The city itself, with 500,000 people, is among the larger ones, not the largest in Germany. The whole region which we are representing is 1.2 million people. Next slide, please. The important part probably, and this is for many companies that are expanding into the German market, sometimes a factor is the excellent infrastructure. The location of Hannover, which is, next slide, please. Is this? No, go please back one slide. Which is traditionally the Hannover region is a very strong logistic center in Central Europe, being connected to the major ports, having the most number of high-speed train connections, the Autobahn, etc. We have a lot of logistic industries, and this is here important as for companies that would like to set up sales and distribution structures to serve the European or serve the German market. Hannover is quite an interesting location with direct flights also to Istanbul, and especially in the biotech area, this comes from time to time important 24-hour freight, air cargo, airport, 24 hours, 24/7. So permanently open, so that also time critical material can be sent to the European market in an extremely convenient way. Next slide, please. Yeah, some more numbers going onward from what we have seen about Germany. 51,000 companies, of course, a lot in the SME sector, which is a traditional backbone of the German market. Lower Saxony, our state where we are the state capital from, is the most important exporter of Germany. This has, of course, to do also with a very strong automotive industry in totally the region, with 87 billion in exports, is 6.5% of the total exports in Germany. Next slide, please. If we look on the business structure in the region, there is one important part, and we will see there's reasons for that when Cornelia will show you in detail the players in the industries we are talking about right now. The health and social service industry is above average in the German market. This is first of all has to do that we have a lot of hospitals, with the Hannover Medical School, with a number of internationally very well renowned specialized hospitals, but that we are also a location where a lot of health insurance companies are headquartered. And this is then, of course, also for many companies important, as we will see later in the German market. It is the health insurance companies who are defining the prices and who are defining which solution, which device, whatever is used for which indication. And so getting connected to the health insurance companies, talking to the health insurance companies is extremely important for many business strategies in the healthcare market. Next slide, please. Cornelia, I think it's good when you take over here and go into detail for the medtech healthcare market in Hannover.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So what you've already heard is that employment in the healthcare industry is significant in Hannover, with 66,000 people working in that industry. And we have around 3,600 companies in that area. This is one part due to the fact that we have a lot of big hospitals, but then also research is stimulating the whole healthcare industry with three major players. So we have the medical university hospital, we have a big veterinary university, and we also have a very large biomedical engineering or medical engineering university. And all those three universities are collaborating together in different forms of projects, and are sometimes also collaborating together in research institutes that are focusing on different areas. Additionally to that, we have around 150 small and medium-sized companies that operate in that area and that are contributing to the overall industry effect. Moving forward to the next slide, that I mentioned focused areas. So these are areas Hannover is really excelling in, where we have a lot of knowledge and where we have world-class results. One part is infection research. There, of course, with COVID-19 being the main topic as well, we have different vaccine projects going on, and we're closely in an infection cluster together with small cities in the surrounding of Hannover, where a lot of work is contributed to infection research. The second big pillar is regenerative medicine, followed by transplantation medicine. With transplantation medicine, the Hannover Medical School has really world-class clinics in heart and lung transplantation, as well as with liver transplantation. Here, maybe someone has heard there is a famous researcher who has invented the cure against hepatitis C, and he is the current president of our medical university hospital. Vaccine and development, immunology going together with infection research I already talked about. The last pillar, biomedical technology and implant research, is coming to the collaboration between the engineering school and the medical school. And there we also have a specific center that is focusing on that work. Before you see the part preclinical research, I would like to emphasize this a bit further to you, because Hannover is one of 2 cities in Germany where we have full phase 1 trials available. And then together with all the other facilities, it comes to the fact that the whole value chain from in vitro to in vivo to clinical studies from phase 1 ongoing is all available in Hannover. We have small animal testing facilities, we have large animal testing facilities in combination with the veterinary school. There is a very thorough, grounded research area that helps to research and develop products in the healthcare sector, both within medtech as well as in pharma. Moving on to the next slide. I would actually go 2 slides further because I like the picture there. So what you see here, we can go back to that later, is a huge summary of all the institutes. But this picture visualizes a bit more. So you can see here our part of the city that is dedicated to healthcare with a lot of different institutions. If I follow your attention to the top right corner, which is MHH, this is our current medical university hospital, as well as the University School for Medicine. Here we will have a very large project going on over the next years, because this institute will be completely rebuilt in an area next to the current location, which is at the moment park land. So we will have the opportunity to completely design and plan one of the largest German university hospitals from scratch new, and at the same time think about how we would like to use the old facilities and how to integrate this in a real new, livable, innovative part of the city. You see the abbreviation HCTC. This is the clinical trial center that we have, which is connected to the MHH. So before I was talking about a lot of different possibilities to conduct clinical trials, we also have the trial center that is helping you to plan studies. Those, of course, not only in Hannover, but European-wide or worldwide, with multi-center studies that you might need in order to get your data. Here, I would also directly like to emphasize that data is very important in Germany. If you are thinking of delivering a product in medtech or pharma to the German market, you will need to be approved and registered by the German authorities, and they usually request German data, and you will need to have German data in order to get into the system. Therefore, I'm stressing this fact a little, that Hannover offers you this facility to conduct those kind of studies. Moving on a bit more in the picture, you can see abbreviations like CRC. This is actually the Clinical Research Center where phase 1 studies are conducted. Directly followed to the right, which is ITEM or ITEM. This is the Institute for Toxicology and Experimental Medicine. There we do drug development, chemical safety, and as well biomedical engineering. As a new part, right now, there is a focus on additive manufacturing. So when you think about implants and the significance of implants, we are thinking of how can you do these in a new way, and not only when it comes to larger implants, but also in terms of soft tissue and organs. So there were also parts of how to deliver additive manufacturing towards heart and towards facial tissue in some ways. To the bottom right is KNIFE. This is the Center for Biomedical Engineering, Implant Research and Development, together with our engineering university. The medical park is the institution that helps companies to have laboratory space and office space. And to the very left is INI. INI is the International Neuroscience Institute, which is a private hospital, and this is world-class in all neuroscience procedures that need to be delivered. So overall, you can see that there is a lot of integrated research and development happening in Hannover, and to the close proximity of all the different institutes, you can see that there are close networks and possibilities of people working together and delivering new research and development of products. Moving on. I think there I've talked now a lot about the healthcare location, and Peter will bring some light into what you can do if you would like to work in Hannover. Thank you.
Thank you, Cornelia. Yeah, just one. Can I get please the next slide? Just to. Yeah. Okay. And go back. So we saw a lot of data about Germany, about Turkey, about markets, about market segments. We also had an insight into the very interesting industry here in Hannover, which offers a lot of collaboration possibilities to go on to finish to enter the market. We have now several approaches how to make this as convenient as possible for Turkish companies. One is the so-called plug and work program we have. Plug and work is designed to offer an approach for a small or mid-sized company to understand the market with respect to the individual needs. So what do you offer? What is your product? What is your service? What needs to be adjusted to the German market in order to be successful? So it starts with covering the whole strategy process, the whole business development and business planning process. We are supporting together with the people we have here right now in this webinar. We are supporting the whole process of do the company formation paperwork, whatever is necessary there, from banking, from notary, whatever. We are offering office, warehouse, lab space, for example, in the medical park, to allow companies to be located right at the spot where they need to be, to have close base to their partners, to the customers, to the decision makers, to have a physical presence in the European market. And this is to locate the company in the German market, but further on we have then structures with delegations, with trade delegations, but also with trade fair support, with other marketing and sales support to accompany the company to get a better access to customers in the German market. Next slide, please. Next slide. No, one back. Yeah, okay. So give you an idea, just some financial numbers, some tax numbers. Typically, these numbers are asked by companies to give you an idea regarding the taxing structure in the German for companies. So there's a basic tax defined by the corporate federal rate, also the corporate basic tax, it's 15%. And then depending on the municipality, there is a so-called business tax, which is around 14 to 17%. So you can say regions which are underdeveloped, which have some weaknesses in infrastructures, etc., probably have a lower business tax, while cities which offer a lot have a higher. so that you have a tax around 30%, and the individual tax structure depends on the tax base. Next slide, please. Also, we are often asked regarding a payment for employees, and here you have to keep in mind the social security structure we have here in Germany, which is let's say expensive compared to other markets, to other countries, but which shows right now in this crisis the advantage, as the whole system allows us to stay as operable as possible during this crisis, as we have very low layoffs, we have people who are sick who get paid and therefore also are staying with the companies, and by that the risk for the companies to losing good people is reduced significantly. And we saw this in the 2008 banking crisis, that Germany had advantages that after the end of the banking crisis in 2008, companies in Germany were pretty fast back into the business, as they were able to keep the employment structures and do not need to rehire people, and by that they don't, they didn't lose time. So in general, you can say we have pension insurance and unemployment insurance and health insurance and nursing insurance, and you see the percentages need to be paid, and it's in general 50-50. So 50% is paid by the employee, 50% is paid by the employer. Next slide, please. Okay, let's go ahead here, because these are wrong currencies. Okay. By that, we have typically a high salary structure in Germany, which need to be kept in mind, that you cannot expect people working for salary structures you would see in some other countries. On the other side, there is we have a minimum wage law, and there is a mini job contract scheme possible. But we are mentioning this here as we are asked pretty often about this. It's not recommendable for a company that is starting to expand into a market. This mini job contract is designed for as a work contract for either people with low skills, or if you have people who are just there to support a certain part for a couple of hours per week. So on the paper, it looks that there's availability for low salaries, but again, we are mentioning this here. This is not recommendable to have this as a base to set up a worker structure for a business expansion. Next slide. So wet rate is typically for what is your where for the industry you are in is typically 19%, which is I think comparable to other industry countries. Next slide. Cornelia, would you like to go on with the trade fairs?
Yes, absolutely. So adding to the infrastructure that we talked about, there are a lot of leading trade fairs in Germany and specifically in Hannover. You've probably all heard about Medica, which is based in the Frankfurt area, the biggest medtech fair ground and exhibition. But then there are also smaller industry-specific ones like the Labvolution, which is taking place in Hannover, or also Nord Bio. Moving on to the next slide, where we're specifically focusing on Hannover, you can also see that we have clusters and associations contribute to this. What is a specific part in Hannover is that we have the world's largest fairground. So you have probably still the world's biggest digital and computer fair in mind, which is CeBIT, which does not longer take place, but that was used to be in Hannover. And through the World Expo from the year 2000, Hannover's fairground is the largest in the world. And we can make use of this in many different ways. Clusters and associations are, of course, supporting that work specifically with fairgrounds, where you bring people together. There we have clusters that are focusing on small and medium-sized companies, or on medium-sized only companies with different references. And we have clusters that are focusing on the health insurance part, which is the payer in Germany, and of course the Pharmaceutical Industry Association. These clusters are a very important player for you to help to navigate the German market, because you will need to know a lot about the details about what is the aim of different institutions and how can you get in contact with them, and getting to know the right person or getting the right information is usually something that clusters and associations can help you with. In addition to that, finding a good industry partner or collaborator is also something, again, that is important. When we talk health insurance here, I quickly want to point out that the German healthcare industry is set up in a different way, that we have a lot of different healthcare insurance companies that are paying for health services, specifically for public health services. Many other European countries have the so-called beverage model, where everything is in a central way paid by state tax, which is not the fact in Germany. We are able to choose different public and or private healthcare insurances, and they're then taking over the costs for our products and for the services that we are getting in order to receive care. Thank you. Moving on.
As Aite Kinnan has connections problems, I will take over this here. Next slide, please.
So, Peter, we need to take,
yeah, I will.
Session. Yes.
Yeah. This is now summing up everything after we saw the data, after we saw what happens in Hannover, the networks, the business opportunities, etc. I would like to ask all participants. We are starting right now as a poll. To join this poll, click through the questions, which help us to give us an understanding. Where are you with your companies, with your business activities, and also helps us to focus within what we are talking about.
I request all participants to participate in polling.
These are just 6 questions.
Yes.